What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Midwest Slamcast. I'm your host, Ryan Bretsch, and this week's guest is JJ Kaiser, the main talent buyer at X-Ray Arcade, and he also owns a basement venue that he runs out of his house, JJ's Bar and Grill, which is an awesome venue. If you ever get a chance to go to a show over there, I highly recommend it. I had a good time chatting with JJ. We talked about kind of like the ins and outs of running a venue, and we talked about some of his new band that he's working on. We talked about some of that stuff, and it was a good chat. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sitting down with JJ. And yeah, let's get into the episode. I also had some dates that I wanted to plug on JJ's behalf at X-Ray Arcade. On 3/13, we got Fuming Mouth, Si Dios Quiere, Yotuma, Outer Graves. On 3/16, we got Oceano, Hive, By the Thousands, Still Stayer, and Cicada. Gang. On 3/23, we got Weeping Wound, Surefire, Glass Waves, Dead Awake, Lilac and Lotus, and Inara. Also gang. On 3/24, we got For the Fallen Dreams, Elijah versus Me, These Fading Visions, and Bottom Shelf. And gang. All right, let's get into the episode, guys. Hey man, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
How you been? How was your holiday?
It was good. I had a couple Christmases to go to, and both sides of my family are very different people, so that was a fun experience for me. But I'm glad it's all over with now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it can definitely get stressful to go to all those Christmases.
No kidding.
We had like 3 to go to, and we still have my dad's house we got to go to on Sunday because we just couldn't like when we were doing all the Christmases, he like had his like on the night we went to another one. We were just like not trying to do that tonight.
Yeah, so. No, I feel that for sure.
But yeah, can you do like a little like intro for yourself? Like
yeah, my name is JJ Kaiser. I'm the talent buyer at X-Ray Arcade. I book shows at a DIY spot called JJ's Bar and Grill, which is also my basement. And I also play in bands too. So.
Oh yeah. Fucking yeah, like we've known each other for like a fucking long ass time.
Almost
like
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, I think I met you, at least the first time I saw your band play was sometime in like 2014.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, because I don't know if we played together or if I was just at the show, but it was at that place in Racine called My Wicked Way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hallway type venue.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
What a weird little spot that had
like,
shows for a while.
To Paint with Fire, I think, was on that one.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think the first show I remember like actually talking to you was at the Borg Ward.
Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, Borg Ward was a sick venue.
My first ever hardcore show was at the Borg Ward, actually, and I got sprayed with a fire extinguisher, and the show got shut down. Like, I didn't get to see the whole show because of the fire. Like, the room like filled with fire extinguisher dust, and everybody had to fucking like evacuate. Essentially,
Hardcore shows get fucking crazy,
dude. Like back then, at least they were like. I was like the last one out, and I was fucking head to toe in just like white dust. Everybody
sounds like the foam fest at the rave,
dude. Yeah, like it was some shit like that. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, fucking. It's like, why did I ever go back to a show after that happened? Like,
dude, the hardcore shows get fucking crazy. I've only been to like 1 or 2. But I remember seeing like footage like from like Chicago shows because Chicago shows get like really crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're like a little bit more violent for sure. Like, I haven't been scared at like a Milwaukee hardcore show in a pretty long time.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. People don't mosh as hard nowadays. People don't do as much like crazy shit. People don't fight as much nowadays.
I feel like in the scene, like a big like point of contention was like at shows was like the people that want to like push mosh
Mm-hmm.
and the people that want to hardcore dance.
Yep.
Like what is your kind of like take on that? Like
I mean, I think they both have their place. And like when I was younger, I was definitely like if you push mosh, you're a fucking idiot. Like that was definitely my stance on it. But like as I grow older, like I understand that like there's a time and place for sure. And like, but also like you just need to read the room. You
mhm,
know, like if the whole room is hardcore dancing, maybe you shouldn't be trying to push mosh and like
right.
ruin everybody's vibe. And
Yeah.
like if everybody is push moshing, you probably shouldn't try to spin kick. You know,
Right.
like there's a time and a place for sure.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that stance for sure.
mhm.
J- I was definitely in the other class, in the push moshing class.
Yeah.
Uh, I just, from my point of view, like I guess I got, well, not I guess I got hit at a show once, and I'll call him out too. BJ Janicek, you fucking hit me at a show, at a Before the War show in like 2014 and chipped my teeth. You son of a bitch, but you know it's all good.
The
Still
beef
love you,
lives
buddy.
on 10 years later. That's fucking funny, dude.
But no, I agree with that. Like I feel like you should just definitely read the room.
Yeah.
Like if you see a bunch of people push moshing, you probably shouldn't go in there and start throwing fists around because
Right.
you know same yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know, you just don't want to like be a vibe killer
hmm
on either side of it, you know?
Mhm.
Like everybody wants to go to the show and have fun. So,
Yeah, it could get crazy either way because a
Yeah.
big reason why I remember the Borg Ward stopped having shows was because like somebody at a metalcore show like kicked a hole in the wall or something, right?
dude, they banned metalcore shows like 3 or 4 times
They kept
before.
coming back.
Yeah, well, it was cuz like so many people were coming to those shows and it's just like the more people you get into a room, like the higher chance that there's going to be like somebody really stupid at the show.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
like when they finally knocked that wall down, like I heard it was like fucking it's about time, dude.
Was it the wall just between the front part and
Mhm.
the venue spot? Okay.
Yeah, it was sometime in like 2015, I think, when the wall finally came down.
Yeah, I don't think I went there after that wall because I remember that wall always being there every
Yeah.
time I played.
Yeah, dude, there were a lot of holes in that wall over the years for sure. But yeah, by the time like they stopped having shows, there was no more wall, and it was just like kind of one big room. So.
Is that even anything anymore? Like,
I think it's like a clothing store or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that. I don't know. I don't really drive past it as much as I used to, but like immediately after it closed, it like reopened as like a clothing store, I think. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
Rest in peace, man. A lot of good shows there.
So first of all, I want to start by saying like you fucking rip, dude, on guitar.
Thank
Like,
you. Appreciate that.
like honestly, like when I was coming up, like out of a lot of other uh local like guitarists and stuff, like I would say that your like riffs and stuff and the songs like inspired me like a bunch, like because like right when I was getting into like gent and like fucking
sure.
like progressive stuff, like you guys dropped that the Pocket Change EP with Heresy.
Yeah.
And like that used to be like my fucking jams. Like all the time I would listen to that shit. And
Well,
like
thank
that,
you.
like that was like one of the records that probably pushed me more into writing that like more like genty style.
Oh, for sure.
But like hell yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't take credit for like all of that. Like probably like half of the songs were like stuff that Fernando wrote when he was still in the band.
Oh really?
That like got carried over. I couldn't name the song names like off the top of my head, but it was like half and half between like him and me basically. But yeah, dude, like those songs were really fun to play for sure. And like that was like a weird time in like the scene too, because like the metalcore scene was kind of dying off. and the hardcore scene was like starting to come up a lot. So we would play a lot of hardcore shows, and it was like really interesting to see like who fucked with us and who hated us because we were like in fucking drop B or drop G or like whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was some shit, man. Had a lot of fun with that band though.
Oh yeah. What how did you get like kind of get involved? Who is all like part of the lineup when you joined that band? Out of curiosity.
So Luke was technically in it when I joined, but he quit before I got to play a show with them. So at that point, Mac became the vocalist.
Oh, okay.
Marcus was still on drums. Jordan was still on bass. And we were like rocking the 4-piece thing for a while. We tried out like a bunch of second guitar players. And then like towards the very end of the band, my friend Nima, who was in the Russian Sleep Experiment and shit.
I know Nima.
Yeah, he was the second guitar player like at the very, very tail end of the band. Like he might have played like 4 or 5 shows with us or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, it was just like me, Marcus, Mac, and Jordan. So.
Oh yeah. Well, that was an awesome project. That was probably one of the sickest bands like in Milwaukee. Like when I started to like get involved with the scene and shit. So
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
When did you like? How old were you when you started playing guitar?
I would have been like 9.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. It was basically because a kid that was like essentially a neighbor, like he was a few houses down from me.
Mm-hmm.
We were hanging out one day and he showed me the band Rush.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. So like that's why I started playing guitar because like we wanted to start like a band like that or at least like cover Rush songs and like being like a 9-year-old, I didn't really realize how complicated like Rush songs are.
Yeah.
They're fucking hard, dude.
Yeah, that's progressive rock, right?
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like what started everything. And I started getting lessons from a guitar shop that is now defunct, actually, called Blue Flame Music.
Oh.
That was like kind of down 27th Street in like the really like southern part of Milwaukee, like essentially Franklin, but it was like a little too far north.
Okay.
But yeah, I took lessons there for a while, and then I took lessons from a guy named Peter Mack in Greendale for a while too. And yeah, it just kind of jump started everything.
You remember what the song by Rush was that like you're like, oh fuck?
It was probably something off of Moving Pictures, like Limelight or like Spirit of the Radio or something like that. But yeah, dude, it was just like that was kind of my first exposure to like music in general. So it's just like, oh wow, that dude's doing some cool shit. Like I want to do that. And like I was like already like musical at that point. Like I had been taking piano lessons for a while, but like when I started playing guitar, I was just like, oh, this is way cooler.
Yeah. Were your parents musical at all?
My mom is. My dad wasn't really.
Okay.
So I think that's like kind of where I got it from.
What did your mom do?
So she played like French horn, I guess. Okay. And I think she also played piano because like we just had a piano at home that she would like play occasionally. But yeah, so she started, excuse me, she got me started doing that when I was like 5 years old. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had like a similar thing. My dad he played drums like in like cover bands and stuff when I was growing up. So like I was kind of just like bred to end up being a musician. Like he just like gave me a pair of sticks and just was like, "Hey, go play the drums." I was like, "Okay."
That happens, man. I mean, I know a lot of people where it was like, yeah, my dad played in a cover band, and now I'm doing this. So
yeah, funnily enough, though, like the drums are like my like initial like instrument, but like at this point, drums don't even interest me the same way like guitar does, and that's like my most natural instrument. Like like playing drums for me is just like riding a bike. You know what I mean? Like I can just get behind the kit and just rip something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like when we met, you were playing drums in that band.
Yeah, at Astra.
Yeah. Yeah, and like my dumbass totally thought you played drums in Zeal too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that wasn't the first time I've gotten that too. A bunch of people like came up to me and were like, "I thought you played drums in Zeal." I was like, "Nope." That's caught a lot of people off guard because nobody had ever seen me play guitar before. So like,
yeah. Is this like the first band that you played guitar in then?
Like that I was like writing stuff and like
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say, yeah.
Gotcha.
But most of the Ad Astra material that we played was all like written mostly by me.
Oh, wild.
Me and Tomas, and there was a couple songs that like Ian, our old guitarist, wrote, and but yeah. So when it comes to like writing and stuff, who today would you say are your like biggest influences?
So I'm like mainly playing in hardcore bands now.
Mhm.
And there's like only one band that I really write for, which is like a newer band that hasn't really launched yet. But as far as that goes, like we all really like bands like Detain and King Nine, shout out, and No Reason to Live, which is like a death metal influence like hardcore band from Pittsburgh. Like so, just like a lot of like really like heavy like moshy hardcore for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
It's just kind of the shit we're going for.
Does this new project have a name?
Yeah, I don't
Are
know
you
how
keeping it on
much.
the DL?
Yeah, I don't know how much I should say about it
Okay.
before it drops, but like in a couple months we'll be out there and ready to play shows and shit.
So and then Reality Check is your other band? Or?
So this band is actually like the new version of that.
Okay.
Essentially, Reality Check broke up in August of this year.
Oh,
and
okay.
played our last show. And this new band is like most of the members of that band.
Okay.
Just kind of continuing on with new stuff. So
Cool.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Can you talk about the band you're working on now at all? Like what
Yeah.
you're like are you guys recording like an album right now, or are you
So
in the
we just did an EP. We went to Bricktop in Chicago,
Okay.
which was really, really dope. It's like probably the best like recording experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was cool. Yeah, and like we like stayed in the studio for like 4 days. He has like a loft
Oh
that
shit,
bands can
that's
stay
dope.
in. Yeah.
So it was a real experience.
Oh,
who's the producer?
His name's Andy Nelson.
Okay.
But yeah, dude was fucking awesome. Made us sound like exactly how I wanted us to sound.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
we're all really happy with how everything turned out. And like, you know, it was an investment for sure, but definitely like a worthy investment.
Were there how did you like come upon the decision to go with that guy?
So a lot of our friends went there. Like namely like our friends in World I Hate recorded like 2 releases there.
Mhm.
And he's done like a lot of like modern hardcore bands too. Like I know like Painted Truth recorded there. I think Never Ending Game recorded there. So just like a lot of bands that like we admire and also listen to, you know. So it was just kind of a no brainer. And it's like Chicago isn't that far away for us either. So
Is it like a huge like live room and stuff like that, or
there was like a pretty decent size like where we recorded drums and shit like that.
yeah?
But yeah, I mean, it's basically just like a warehouse type deal that has a studio in it.
Oh yeah,
Pretty dope.
That's like the dream for me, basically.
Hell yeah.
Because yeah, I just got this. I don't even really have a place to record drums right now.
Yeah, I saw you got the electric kit over
Yep.
there.
Yeah, we do just everything MIDI right now.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
Just because probably like our next album we'll do live drums and stuff.
Mm.
It's just makes the most sense where we're at right now to do MIDI.
Yeah, recording drums is always like the hardest thing. I feel like, especially with like a home studio, for sure.
I've tried to do it a couple times, like in my basement at my old house and shit, and it just could never get it to sound great. I did record once in here, and it sounded all right, but I would need to probably do some more stuff, like to the walls and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to
Get
piss off
some
your
better
neighbors.
mics.
Right.
But yeah. So I remember you being in like quite a few bands. You
Been in a
you
lot.
used to be like the guitar fill-in guy
Yeah.
in Milwaukee for a while, weren't you?
Dude,
so
yeah.
what all bands were you in?
So like the first like I guess like real local band I was in was A Study in Scarlet, which was like 2010 to 2012, and that's like what introduced me like into the music scene. It was this guy Jared that I went to high school with. He played in American Bandit for like a second.
What's his last name?
Gerbing.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, but you might know him
just
via
from
that.
the like Facebook Milwaukee scene world,
Yeah.
but other
But
than that, I don't think I know him personally.
Gotcha. But yeah, it was funny because like so we went to high school. He's a few years older than me. And I was just like, he knew I played guitar, and I was just like walking down the hall one day, and he's just like, "Yo, you play guitar, right? You want to fill in for my band this weekend?" And it was like maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. So I practiced with them. I learned their whole set in like a few days, and then I played my first local show that weekend. And it was crazy, man. Like it was like this all local like Toys for Tots like benefit show in Mequon at this place called the Logeman Center. Also rest in peace. But yeah, it was just like totally like just sprung upon me. And that just kind of set everything in motion. And then like later on, I joined bands like Abide by Me, which I was in from like 2012 to 2014. Then Heresy, which was like around the same time. I was in the Russian Sleep Experiment for like 5 minutes. It was like 4 or 5 months maybe, and then the band broke up. And then after that, I was in Erase Evolve for a few years. And then I played in a band called Slow Panic, which was like a hardcore band that was very on and off. After that, Reality Check. And now we're back to where we are right now with this new band. And then I'm currently also playing in a band called Suffer No Fools, which is like a faster like hardcore band based out of Michigan. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
What would you say was the most like which of the bands that you played in like had the most like influence or like effect on you?
I mean, I feel like they all kind of did in different ways. Like with Abide by Me, like I definitely played to this day like some of the biggest shows I've ever played because it was like we played a few like sold out Miramar shows.
Well, yeah, Abide by Me was pretty big in the scene. Like
For
they
sure.
were kind of on the like sleep therapist sleep level.
I don't know if we were that big, but like it was definitely like we definitely were like accepted by those bands, which was like a really big deal for us at the time. Like we played the Sleep Therapist Sleep like reunion show that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was fucking crazy, dude. Like I remember being so fucking nervous.
Yeah.
But like that was a huge fucking deal. And like but like with Heresy, like I've like never had more fun in a band than I did with those group of guys. Cause it was just like this crazy mix. Cause like Mac and I were both straight edge at the time. I'm still straight edge, for the record. But Jordan and Marcus were like the polar opposite of that.
Yeah.
So it's just like you put 4 guys together that are just like completely different into a room. Like it was fucking hilarious, and we had so much fun. That's also part of the reason why the band didn't work out. But like, you know, like looking back on it now, like I can like smile about all of those moments, and you know, like all those guys are still friends too.
Yeah.
You know, but and like, you know, like Erase Evolve was super important because it was essentially the reason I started booking shows, you know, which was obviously like a huge change in my life. So I guess like every band in their own respect, like had an important impact on me. Like I don't think there's a band I played in that I was just like, that didn't matter at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. So what you were saying that Erase Evolve is like it was the reason why you started booking shows?
Partially, yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually curious about like what started, like how that process started.
Yeah, for sure. So excuse me. So we were like trying to find a place that we could book our own show. Like we weren't really interested in like opening for like some bands or like opening for like a tour that came through. Like we just wanted to like get all of our friends together and do a show. And at the time, Milwaukee was in kind of like a weird spot for venues. Like you said, the Borg Ward was like super back and forth on like letting like metalcore shit happen. So we didn't really even want to bother like trying to ask them. The Cocoon Room, where Heresy had their first last show, that had just recently shut its doors. So like our only options were like we drove around to like a bunch of community centers and like VFW halls, and we talked to a bunch of people, and like I can't imagine our pitch as like 19-year-olds was very like I don't think anybody listened to us talk and was like, yeah, we should definitely let these idiots rent out our room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like all of them told us pretty nicely to fuck off.
Yeah.
So it was just like, all right, well, if we're going to do this ourselves, like we're going to have to figure something else out. So I asked my mom very nicely if we could have a show in our basement. And she was not at all about it. But I was just like, please let me do this once. And if it sucks, we'll never do it again. You know? And she was okay with that idea. And the show happened and like it was pretty much fine. And like after that happened, like the Borg Ward closed like a month later after that first show. And a lot of venues in Milwaukee that were like DIY were like coming and going in those first couple of years. So what ended up happening was a lot of those shows that were supposed to be at those venues would end up getting moved to my basement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so like in that, I'm meeting all of these people and like those bands, instead of hitting up whoever they hit up before, are hitting up me the next time they come back to Milwaukee for a show. So I kind of like accidentally became a promoter in that respect. Like it wasn't necessarily the plan to like take this super seriously, but that's just kind of how it worked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, fucking life comes at you fast.
Yeah,
For
it
real.
does. Well, I mean, I feel like you did like a cool thing for the scene too, just by opening that. Because the shows there are really fun. Like
Yeah.
any show I was actually at the first one.
I was gonna
at
say, I remember you and a couple of your friends were there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's awesome.
I've been to a few throughout the years, but it's always like such a good time hanging out there. So like
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I'm glad and I'm stoked for you that you get some pretty like big like national acts coming through sometimes. So that's sick, man.
Yeah, it surprises me too.
Because
Still.
did you had was it? Did you have Kublai Khan?
That was a
in
few
there?
years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
They like blew up. you
Yeah,
know?
so my friend Tom is really good friends with them,
Yeah.
and was able to work it out that way. But yeah, dude, like the fact that like so many bands are down to do shit like that is so crazy to me. Like the most recent one that was like a wild one was See You Space Cowboy back in September of this year. And like it was like a situation where like they were trying to come through on a Saturday in September on like a month's notice. They were on tour with Nothing Nowhere and they were like trying to fill some off days, I guess. And like because they were reaching out like a month in advance, like there wasn't a single venue in the city that was open on that Saturday. Like there was so much shit going on that weekend, and I just kind of told their agent, I was just like, well, we could do a house show if you want, but I don't know if that's something like the band is interested in. And crazy enough, they were like, yeah, they're down. And I was just like, all right, dude, sure, why not? And it was fucking wild. Like it was a great time. So
what would you say is your favorite show you booked?
Man,
at the basement and then just like in general.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's even tough to say like in the basement because there's been so many like crazy ones over the years. I feel like the first like very like monumental one was Jesus Piece, which was in 2017. And like to this day, that's like one of 2 times they've ever played in Wisconsin. Like they just played the Rave with Hatebreed like a few months ago.
Oh shit.
Up until then, that was the only time they ever played Wisconsin.
That's insane.
Yeah, so it's interesting that way. And like See You Space Cowboy was like a really big one, obviously. Trying to think what else. I had a show in February this year that was like the Callous Cowboys with Your Spirit Dies. That was a really good one. And these were all shows that were like either sold out like at the door or in advance too. So it's like just putting that many people down there. So fucking, it's crazy and it's stressful, but it's always a really good time.
Yeah.
So.
How do you like handle it when like somebody gets out of line? Because I'm sure you've had that like
Not as often as you probably think.
really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you guys do have that like strict like no drugs and alcohol thing.
And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like, and like also because like it's in the suburbs, people aren't really like wandering in off the street.
Yeah.
You know, like people are coming there because they want to see a band that's playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like a large part of the reason why it's been as okay as it has for so long. Is just like people don't normally act bad. Like, there's been like a couple fights, and that's over like 7 years. There's been like 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just like if something happens, it's like you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but most of the people, especially if my friends are at the show, it's like there are people that are on my side too.
Right.
Like, it's not just me yelling at somebody. So.
Right. I'm sure you got a bunch of like big hardcore dudes that hang around. They're just like,
there's
nobody.
There's definitely a couple, depending on the show, which definitely works in your favor for sure. But yeah, no, I've been very fortunate that there hasn't been like that many like. There's like been like accidents that happen for sure. Like back in July, a guy accidentally fucking ripped the railing out of like the wall. Like on the staircase going down to the basement. My toilet has malfunctioned more than once over the years.
Shit.
Like the flusher is broken and stuff like that. Like, so that's like really frustrating stuff. But it's like also, it's not meant for 100 people to continuously use it over and over again.
Right.
So it's like it's bound to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you deal with that kind of shit. It's just kind of part of the game. So.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of sounds like on the light side of like venue ownership, like
for sure. Because it's like, dude, I grew up going to so many like River West house shows that were like it was just a party is just as much as it was a show.
Yeah, like that, like the Mosh House venue, like that place was nuts.
That was a lawless land.
Yeah.
But like even before that, like when I was in high school, like there was a point in time where there was like 4 or 5 different house venues in River West that were operating at the same time. And like, yeah, it was just like, I wouldn't say anything crazy ever happened, but there was a lot more potential for crazy things to happen because everybody was like pretty wasted a lot of the time.
Those places probably didn't have that strict, like, no.
Oh, no
drinking.
one gave a fuck.
Yeah. There's probably people in the pit with like bottles and shit.
Yeah, and like not a lot of those shows were hardcore shows. Like it was mainly like emo and like indie rock and stuff. But it's like even still, like you have enough alcohol in you, things are gonna get a little wild for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Were there any questions you had about like X-Ray or anything like that, or?
Well, how did you get into working at X-Ray?
That's a good question for sure. So it was like coming out of like I guess like the lockdown part of the pandemic. They were starting to get show offers again, and a lot of it was like stuff that was kind of my bag that my boss didn't really know what to do with. So it got to the point where he was like messaging me like almost every day. Basically just like asking if I wanted to help with these shows or if I wanted to like co-pro with them. And it was like, yeah, of course I want to do that, and eventually it gets to a point where he's messaging me and he's like, hey, we really need help with doing this. Like, because like for context, everybody that is an owner at X-Ray also has a full-time job. So it's like, I'm sure they would all love to be able to focus on that, but like they also have careers that they are responsible for, so like they needed help with their booking stuff. And I was just like, dude, I would fucking do it. Like, why not? And so I started working part-time as like assistant talent buyer in February of 2022. And I did that up until May of this year when I was offered like a full-time position. And I quit my job almost immediately and I started doing that. And I haven't really looked back. So, and it's been really good, man. Like I'm really fortunate to be in the position I'm in, especially like with the boss that I have and the people that I work with. Like it's definitely like I definitely worked very hard to get to it. But yeah, I'm very fucking lucky.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. So
and X-Ray is like such a great venue too. So like I'm definitely glad they got you in there because like I don't know, you definitely know your shit and you've put together some awesome shows, man. So like they're smart for picking you, I think, for this like scene and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean like there are definitely some things that my boss knows about that I don't, but like when it comes to like I mean stuff like your band or like hardcore or like pop punk, emo, indie, like doesn't really know as much about that world as I do. So like it works out where it's like I can do my thing, he can do his thing, and like we also work with a lot of like outside promoters too that consistently bring stuff to our room. So it's like it makes it a little bit easier for us to like fill out a calendar that way for sure. So
Yeah. I'm happy that they like got rid of the metal grill too, because
yeah, I mean, like I don't know a whole lot about like what was going on with it. Like I heard through the grapevine that some like weird stuff was going on towards the end, but like I don't really want to speak on stuff I don't know
you
about.
have to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. But like, yeah, it was like very weird because it closed like super abruptly.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and then it was just like done. I was like, oh great, well, there's another venue that's just like gone now.
Yeah, I was so stoked when I saw that they were like gonna turn it into X-Ray. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's gonna be like an arcade too. Like, okay.
It is like a nice little like thing added on to the venue too.
Yeah.
It's just like it is funny though because people that don't know anything about us will call and like because they think we're just an arcade.
Oh,
And
really?
they don't know anything about like the live music part. People will call us and be like, "Hey, I'm selling this arcade game. Are you guys interested?" And like shit like that. Like, so it's just like I feel bad. Our general manager has to field a lot of those calls, and he's probably just like rolling his eyes the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's part of the deal, I guess. So
Yeah. So you book at the Cactus Club too?
so we do shows there
Okay.
occasionally. I don't work for them, but we do book shows in their room, and they're great, man. Like honestly, like I've gotten a lot closer to Kelsey, their owner, this year, and like it's really rare in this world to like have a lot of like people that you can trust, I guess, like being a promoter and stuff like that. And it's like among others, like the folks at Cactus Club have been really good to us and just really helped us out a lot. And we really appreciate when we can work with other people in the city like that. Because it's just like there's a lot of, I mean, like when a day isn't open at X-Ray, like that's the place I'm taking it for the
Yeah.
most part, usually. Because it's just like it sounds fucking great. And like if you want like a solid small room to do shows in and you want it to be all ages, like that's where you go, man. Like,
Yeah. I haven't been there yet, but I've seen tons of pictures online and stuff. It looks like a really sick venue.
yeah, oh, it's dope as fuck, man. And like they are like a recently like all ages venue too, like as of like the last couple years. So, which was definitely like a game changer for the community too, because it's like every hardcore show there is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always really cool to be there and watch. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So is there any like exciting new things coming up with X-Ray?
Oh yeah, for sure. So, I just announced like a couple weeks ago, I'm doing like a Midwest emo ish like fest in February at X-Ray. It's called Burn Bright MKE, which is something I've been working on for like a really long time. It's my first time ever doing anything like even remotely like this, but it's going to be February 24th and 25th of next year. Weekend passes are on sale right now. Single day tickets will be on sale sometime in January. I don't know when this is coming out.
This will be probably third week of January.
Okay, so they should be on sale by then.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, tickets are on sale now. So you should buy some. But yeah, like I'm really excited to like start doing that because our emo scene is like really, really good right now. And I think it kind of needed like a fest of some sort in Milwaukee, at least. There are some folks in Madison that do a fest called Homie Fest that seems to be going really good too. But Milwaukee definitely needed something, and I'm really excited to give it a shot and hopefully continue to do it after this next year. And then I'm also doing a show March 12th at X-Ray, which is One Step Closer, Anxious, Koyo, and Stateside, which is going to be a really fun show. If you're listening, this might already be sold out, but at this point, there's 30 tickets left, so you should buy one and sell it out. That would be really cool. And then there's like a bunch of other shit that's like not announced yet that I can't talk about, but I'm anticipating we're gonna have a really good year, and I'm really excited for it because like
Oh, yeah.
it's just gotten busier and busier, man.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking worked my ass off this whole year, and like I booked around like 65 shows, which is like double the amount that I would normally do in a year. So shit is getting crazy.
How many sellouts did you have?
For me personally, it was 11, but that's across all of the venues. Like a couple of those were in the basement. Most of them were at X-Ray. At least one of them was at Cactus Club. And X-Ray has had more sellouts that like I didn't really have anything to do with too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I know there was like a Dillinger 4 show that was like a sellout that I didn't book.
Did you book that one that the Still Stayer one?
I like helped them out with it. Like I essentially just gave them the date and told them they could do what they wanted.
Oh, okay.
Which is like what I normally do when they want to do like a show like that, because it's just like they just want to book a show with their friends, and like they don't book stupid bands either.
Right.
So it's just like I'll let you guys do your thing, and I'm sure it's gonna be great, and it always is. So
yeah, that was amazing.
yeah, dude, like honestly, that's like an interesting thing to get into. Like I think it's so crazy to me that we have a metalcore scene again.
Me too.
Cause like, dude, like, I mean, you were there for a lot of these like Miramar shows that were fucking crazy and like shit like that. So it's like the fact that local bands are able to like pack out a room again is mind blowing to me, especially in the metalcore space, because I felt like that was like so dead for so long.
Yeah, the last like really crazy like metalcore show I remember, like that was like a local show. Was probably that like North Lane one at the Miramar.
Yeah, I was there.
I mean, there was a couple like good ones, but that North Lane one was fucking crazy.
Dude, that was that might have been it was either 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah, because I remember the Russian Sleep Experiment played, and I was annoying the shit out of Bob to get him on the show because I think like a band might have dropped or something, and I was just like, dude, these are my friends. They're really good. They all fucking love North Lane. Ended up, it might have been their first show. Maybe. I don't know. A lot of that shit blurs together now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
trying to remember specific shows and shit.
Dude, yeah. Like, especially from that long ago. Like, I remember there was like that. There was like that Of Glacier's last show that was really crazy. The Deadweight last show that was really crazy.
There's were you at that Demolisher show? You remember the Demolisher one?
I think that was the Of Glacier's show.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, it was like those two, and then there was like, I feel like every show back then was like 9 bands.
I remember that at the Demolisher show, I remember I was like headbanging in the front row, and I like smacked my head super hard on a stage monitor.
No.
Like full force, like.
Oh man,
I'm pretty sure I was concussed because like everything was like blurry for a minute there, but yeah.
Oh man, self-inflicted too.
Yeah,
that's no good.
I've gotten quite fucked up at shows,
dude. Honestly, like I have too, which is like I've like officially decided I'm not moshing anymore. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I mean, I'll push somebody once in a while.
But like, dude, like 3 months ago, I broke my foot at a show in Chicago.
Oh, really?
Dude, and breaking your foot fucking sucks, dude. Like, I was on crutches for like a whole month, and like, this was during one of the busiest months of my life, too. Like, I had a bunch of shows I had to run. I had to stand in my friend's wedding on crutches. Like, it was this whole fucking thing, and like, and it was completely my fault, too. Like, I just landed on my foot sideways and broke the fucking like pinky bone on the toe. Yeah, it really sucked.
You remember like what band was playing?
Yeah, it was actually World I Hate. My friends. Yeah, they were opening for Magnitude at Cobra Lounge in Chicago, and my dumb ass found a way to hurt myself.
I had a similar thing happen to me. I was at it was funny enough, it was Chan at
You hurt yourself at a Chan show?
Dude, the pit went hard.
What
okay?
Who's moshing to that band?
There was a lot of people moshing, actually.
That's weird.
At Turner Hall.
Who were they playing with?
They were playing with Between the Buried and Me and Intervals. I think that it was a good ass show though. No, but yeah, we were moshing. I think the song was Can't Wait. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Right where that part comes down, like
yeah.
And like everybody went hard in the pit, and like I was like fucking like dancing or some shit, and somebody like shoved me, and I like completely landed like full force sideways on my ankle, like, and I was like,
Man.
oh.
I
was
feel-
like my whole face like pale white, and like people were like, like I was like, just sitting there, like people were like, "Are you okay?"
Bro.
And I'm like, I can't move.
I like only halfway feel bad for you because why the fuck were you moshing at a Chan show? That's weird, man. But I guess you live and you learn, right?
Yeah. That's what I get. That was God's way of telling me, like, don't mosh at Chan.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, because like I feel like I've seen them a few times and I've never seen anybody move. Like I feel like they're just watching the guitar player the whole time.
I think this show might have just been like hype as fuck
Okay,
because like
gotcha.
it was like between the Buried and Me, and
For sure.
That Chan was actually the headliner though. It was
Over Between the Buried and Me? Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was intervals between the Buried and Me and then Chan played.
Damn.
That was
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good show though.
Believe it. What year was that?
It had to be probably 2019.
Okay. So right before shit hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So do you have any crazy stories of anything that happened at the basement?
Trying to think like what I could actually talk about because there hasn't really been anything that's like this was out of control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like when Jesus Piece played there, people were like trying to stage dive like off of the stairs.
What?
Yeah, like if you can try to picture that, like people were doing that, and that was like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
That's just gonna end bad.
Right. But yeah, like I don't know, like some people have gotten like hurt in the past for
Yeah.
sure, but it's just like, when that happens, we take care of people and make sure they're okay. But like I've never had to call an ambulance or anything like that. Like I don't know, like the hardcore shows definitely do get sort of wild at times. Like, I mean, the Sworn In show was like a pretty wild one when that did happen. And that was just like poor timing too, because like it was like 150 people or something like that. And it was 95 degrees that day.
What's the cap? Just
It's 100 now.
100.
That was what inspired me to have a lower cap
Yeah.
for sure. Cause it's just like,
Did you actually fit 150 in the basement, or
I think there was more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude.
That's
It was
crazy.
everybody was just fucking roasting
Yeah, I
down there
believe
for
it.
the duration of the show. And like, yeah, and it's like, so when there's that many people down there, it's like not only is like everybody sweating, but like the walls are sweating. There's like fucking condensation on the pipes. Like it's like this whole fucking thing. Actually, at the CU Space Cowboy show, and I don't know if this was like a result of that or what the fuck happened, but 3 of my mic cables died at the exact same time, right before Static Dress was supposed to start playing.
Oh shit.
And like I was freaking out because I thought like, did I have like dead channels in my mixer? Did something get unplugged between the speakers and the mixer? Like so many things that could be going wrong, right? Because it's like, why would 3 XLR cables just stop working at the same
that's-
time?
Like, what are the odds?
Right.
Yeah.
But one of their vocals still worked. And it took me 10 minutes to figure out if one of their vocals still works, it's probably just all the cables.
Yeah.
So I just replaced all the cables and it was good to go. But like when I get really stressed out, like common sense kind of is just like lost on me. So it's just like,
know that feeling,
dude. And it's like, it's so fucking annoying because this happens to me like every time like I get into like a predicament like that. The answer is usually like really simple and it takes me way too long to figure it out.
Yeah, I feel like that's just a common thing with like shows and being in a band and like sound engineering and all that stuff is just
Right.
like you have to deal with shit not working sometimes. We try to make it like as easy as possible. We just have like a snake that we run to front of house,
Mhm.
and then everything else is just DI and
Dude, that's so crazy that that's just like the thing now
yeah.
with like metalcore is that like everything is DI'd. Like,
I mean, I just have I don't know if you remember our like setup when we were playing at that X-ray show, but
I mean, it's that thing, right? Or is it
yeah,
something else?
it's
Okay.
that guy right there, and then we
Yeah.
have these two PA speakers.
Right. Yeah.
We use those as like our amps, basically.
Oh, okay.
So, the guitars will run to those, just so we have like some stage volume. Because
Mhm.
if it just ran direct to the like front of house and stuff, like probably wouldn't be able to hear ourselves very well, you know.
Right.
But I also like to have like some type of stage volume behind the main PA
Oh,
for
yeah.
guitars.
You got to be able to hear yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I've been using the same 6505 through a Mesa cab for so fucking long. For so fucking long. And like the fact that like so many things are just like computers now is crazy to me. And like as somebody that runs a lot of shows too, it's like there's been entire shows where nobody's using like a cab
Yeah.
at all now. And it's like that. If you told me like 5 years ago that was going to be like normal right now, I don't know if I would have believed you. Like, it's
Yeah.
so crazy how technology advances.
Well, I mean, it's just it's so much easier than hauling a cab around to just have
For sure.
a little Kemper unit, you know.
Yeah. I will say, like, when people know how to use all of their gear, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
The problems arise is like when the backtracks aren't working or something like that, and it's just like if we're all just waiting for like the laptop to start working. This is a funny story actually. That reminded me. So the only time that Still Stare has played in the basement, and Marcus won't mind me telling this story, I'm sure, but they were about to start playing, and his laptop like rebooted, and it started doing like a fucking system update.
Oh, I was there. I
Okay, you
that.
were there for this. Okay. But yeah, like, and it took like 15 minutes. And like, it's just like, I love those guys so much. It was the most typical fucking shit that would happen for them. And I still make fun of Marcus for it all the time because it's just so like, I was pretty pissed at the time, but I look back on it now and that's so fucking funny because of course it would happen right then.
Right.
You know?
Right as you're about to go on. Oh, nope. Computer's updating.
Yeah, dude. Like every time we've like,
didn't he have to like flip his Kemper off and he flipped it back on? The Kempers take like 3 hours to load up.
I'm sure that's what happened too.
He's like, oh shit, the Kemper's updating now. Sorry guys.
Like every time that we've talked about like an X-ray show after that, I was like, you gonna fucking update that laptop the night before the show? Oh god, it's so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, that's just the least opportune moment.
Yeah, because of course that would happen.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we could kind of start to wrap it up here, but
Sure.
I have like one more question for you. It's kind of like I mean, not that broad, I was gonna say, but so if you could go back in time, and this could be like towards like booking or guitar playing or being in a band or whatever, if you could go back in time to like, I'll just let you say whatever you want to say. Like, if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think it would just be to like be more direct and upfront about how you're feeling with people, because that was something I definitely struggled with and definitely like didn't help with like relationships within the bands that I was in when I was younger. And it's like, you know, you can give yourself some grace when you're like young and immature and everything, but like I think a lot of problems wouldn't have happened if I would have just been more mature about things and just said what I was feeling instead of just like letting things ride to the point where like friendships get damaged from it and stuff like that. Cause like that was a large part of the reason like why things didn't really work out with a few of my bands. But now that I'm older and like, you know, there's no beef anymore, like everybody is fine. But like I've learned to be a little bit better about that kind of stuff, and I think it's helped a lot. And like especially as like being like a promoter too, it's like, you know, you can't be afraid to tell people what's up when it's up. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I always try to be very upfront about like what to expect about everything, and I think that's a really important quality to have. Just like not only in this space, but just like as a person.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
So.
I mean, yeah, working with anybody in any field, probably that's like a good thing to like have about you, because like, yeah, that's people will fucking jump to like to like walking all over you if you're not like
Mm-hmm.
like what's the word here? Like if you don't like stay strong in that, like
Yeah, like there's definitely like a fine line between like being a nice person but also being firm.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's like the whole like do no harm but take no shit
yeah.
type thing.
There's that
Like-
there's something that I'm like currently kind of working on that's like is like I can almost be like too direct with the people I'm working with sometimes. Like, and some people like might take like offense to that.
Mhm.
So like that's kind of something that I've been trying to work on, is like you can be like direct but also be like caring and stuff, you know what I mean? Because if you're like overly direct, you could like overlook people's like feelings and stuff,
Right.
and that could become a whole other mess in itself.
Well, yeah, and that's like a big part of like being in a band too, is like you need to take other people's feelings into consideration,
Mm,
but it's also, I mean, it's just like being in a relationship with multiple people, but
yep.
in a different way, essentially.
I mean, it is. It's just
Yeah.
not a romantic relationship, you know.
Unless it is, and that's unless it is.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, that's a whole fucking thing. But yeah, just like I don't know, just working with, you just have to know how to like work with people. You know,
Mhm.
that's like a really important quality to have, and I'm thinking I'm a lot better at it now than I was when I was like 18. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that about
Same here.
myself a lot. So
Well, hell yeah, man. Thanks for doing this.
thank you for having me. I
It's-
appreciate it.
It's been a blast.
Hell yeah.
And if you ever want to come on again, we could do that too. I'm down to like talk to fucking whoever, whenever, basically.
Hell
I just want to like get to know people better, and I think it was cool to like actually get to sit down for a while and talk to you,
For sure.
because we've known each other for so long, but haven't gotten like really a chance to like sit down and actually get to know each other, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely been like in passing for the most
Yeah.
part, for sure.
Which I feel like it's been like that for a lot of people in the scene,
For
like
sure.
coming up. But I'm glad that like I'm getting to meet more people and like actually talk to people, sitting down long form and
Fuck
getting
yeah.
to know people. But yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, we can wrap it up here.
Dope.